like to welcome everybody once again to the Buffalo History Channel, and I gotta tell you, I'm glad we made our first post for the year 2021. It was a very brand new segment called Legends of WBLK, and I shared some classic audio from the one and only Chucky T. And man, the responses were awesome. I mean, wow! I've had that audio. I got that originally from Double D, Dwayne Donovan, and I never really listened to it all the way through. And once I did, there was a lot of gems in there. But I want to get to this interview and look at who I have with me today. If you listen to WBLK back in the day, and when you think of a show called The Quiet Storm, one name comes to mind. I mean, there was Al Wood, there was myself at one time. But the young lady that I have with me tonight, oh my goodness, her name is synonymous with WBLK and The Quiet Storm, and I'm so glad to have her on the Buffalo History Channel. She's going to tell us all about her radio history in the city of Buffalo. Please welcome to the Buffalo History Channel, the one and only Debbie Sims. Debbie, welcome to the Buffalo History Channel.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. How are you today?
Oh, I am well. And I have to let everybody know this is actually really our first time meeting. We communicated a little bit on Facebook when I reached out to her, and someone that I worked at WBLK in the year 2000, from 2000 to 2004. Certainly as a kid child, I listened to WBLK and heard her voice across the radio. Debbie, let's start from the beginning.
All right.
What got you into radio?
What got me into radio initially was a young woman by the name of Marilyn Rogers, who at that time was working at BLK. And I used to do those kind of, I used to DJ private parties, or just private parties more or less, or just parties in general. And she came through one night and heard me play, and she was like, you're pretty good. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, right, yeah, thank you. You should be on the radio. Okay, yeah, right, okay. I thought she had, too much of this. So I was like, sure, whatever. She says, when I get in, I'm gonna, call you and we can probably do something together. Sure, okay. It was, she was doing something on BLK. She was gonna throw a New Year's Eve party and she needed an extra voice. So she called me and I helped her with this promo. The program director heard it, liked my sound, and the year was 1983, New Year's Day. I had got on the radio. It was my first time on the radio, and my first words on the radio to welcome myself into the Buffalo frequency was, oh shit. The mic was on. It was one of those things where you cue up the mic, you cue up the turntable, you manually, then you start it, and then, you cue it up, and then you go on the board, and you're like, and so it's so-and-so time, and blah, 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 and my first song is blah, 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 and I pressed the button on the board, and the record went, oh shit, and that was my intro into the Buffalo airwaves. And ever since then, I've been watching my P's and Q's, but that's how I got on the radio, with the help of Marilyn Rogers. And Zimmerman was his name as the program director. That was Freddie Patrick, that crew in 1983. So I came up as a youngster. I started late in radio. I was like 27, and usually people go to school, and I came through. I got lucky. I got blessed. Just come in with no prior knowledge of it, just my wits and my ear, and that was pretty much how I got started.
Wow. Now what was as you started out in WBLK? You already told we see Hi, you got that was your christening. That was your initial. There was no better way. What better way is it to come into
No, but
radio, basically?
I mean, and when I talk to other people about it,
Mhm.
I've been exposed, or people are telling me that they've also said certain things on the air as a way of getting in. So I don't feel as bad. I feel like I'm part of a club of,
Oh yeah,
you know, individuals that break into the airwaves with a little salty blue language.
right.
And the part about being in radio is you create an image. It's a story that you create with the words that you use and how you interact. So when people finally met me, I was the image they look at me would be, gee, I thought you were white. Oh, really? I thought you were blonde. And I
On
guess,
WBLK.
yeah, did get it. I don't know. Because of the articulation of the way I presented my language,
Right.
it was that was an area in which people were just taken aback by the way I spoke, or I didn't speak a lot because I felt if you spoke too much, I let my music speak for itself.
Right.
And that was my calling card, was the music. It wasn't
I
really,
can recall that your voice did the inflection of your voice. It was very class. It was very I always remember your voice is very classy
well,
over
thank you.
over the air.
You should
Let's
have heard me off the mic. I'm like, you so and so had it. And welcome back to the Quiet Storm.
hey,
I'm Debbie Sims and so on. We'll be right back after this. I ought to kick your, you know what I'm saying? So there was one of those. I felt like a schizophrenic kind of individual, just a different type of individual that would express herself so freely, but I was very, I would say, controlled about how I present myself. It was the image because I represented a very unique community, especially women of color back then. There weren't too many on the air.
right.
And it was usually after midnight. It was usually women were regulated to midnights, middays, never drive time, or never after 7 or the drive time at that point, because their initial thought was, women put people to sleep during those times. They didn't have enough energy. So that was my introduction into that concept of drive time. Women weren't that strong enough. So with that being said, I made sure that whatever time frame I got into, I made it my own. The first time I did midnights, it was I called it the other side of midnight. And on the other side of midnight, I gave it this introduction of everyone being in an airplane and we're flying at this amount of feet and buckle up, sit back, I'll be your pilot for the evening, and we're going to do this, so on and so forth. And that's how that transition from the other side of midnight carried into the quiet storm.
Okay. Because I was gonna ask. Because I was gonna ask you, were there any other shows that you did while on WBLK?
I just did, well, midnights to 6 was my time slot. Excuse me. And it was the other side of midnight, quiet storm. Then from that, it was middays, which was, what was middays? 10 to 2, 10 to 3. And
And,
it was
right,
10
yeah,
to 2, 10 to 3, because
10 to
I would, I think Lee Pedigree came in after me.
okay,
So it was 10 to 3. That was that time frame, 4 hours. And that's what I did.
yeah,
And that was the only time, the only show that I did. And then after I was downsized from BLK, I went to the NPR station, which was the UB station, which was jazz and blues.
okay. Now, how long were you at WBLK for? I know you said you started in 1983 to what year?
I was there for almost 17 years.
Wow.
They were changing hands at the time. Where were we the first time? The first time BLK was on Franklin Street. Then they moved from Franklin to Main Street.
In I remember it on Main Street.
Hmm.
That theater district area.
Yes, we
Right.
were there for a while. And then from there, we went further downtown to, I remember the
Land building?
building. Pardon me?
Land building? Oh,
Yes, they had a lot of other radio stations in that building because
right.
at that point,
That's
the
when I
owner,
started at the Rand building.
the owner sold the station, and that's how we got to that building. And the new owners wanted a different sound, and they said that my sound was a little too old. I guess they wanted someone younger. So that's how I was kind of ushered out of BLK at the time. It was 1998.
Oh, okay.
They asked me to leave at that point.
Who were some of the people over the years that you worked with at WPLK? Obviously, we all know Freddie Patrick, Lou St. James. Who were some of the other folks? Or if you could talk about them as well.
Dude, I can't remember what I did 20 minutes ago.
I'm getting there too, actually.
oh, I at this point I can't remember,
Mhm.
and that's unfortunate. I really can't
Yeah.
put. I can't remember some of the names. I can see the faces,
Right.
but the ones that meant something to me. Well, they all meant something to me, but right now it's Freddie Patrick and Lee Pettigrew, um, DJ Hooker, Break It Dawn,
Rest in peace.
Al Wood, I think, at that point.
Absolutely.
Oh, there was a few other people there too, but there was always a changing of the guard at some point. But I know as soon as I leave you and go to sleep, I'll probably wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a whole list of people. Oh, I could have said, oh man. That's how the brain works.
Okay. What were some of when addition to being on the radio, getting out into the community, any memories that you could share about being out in the community as a radio personality? Or was the response of the people to your radio show, being at events like Juneteenth or maybe out on some remotes or whatever?
Um, One of the things that comes to mind is I think after was off the radio for a bit, I was standing in line at a supermarket, and I had someone with me. We were chatting and laughing. You know what folks do when they're standing in line, and this individual in front of me kept turning around, and I would go, "Hey, how you doing?" And we talked some more, and it would turn around again with a perplexed look on their face, and I was like, "Well, what's going on? Do I need to be pulling something? Or need to be taking off my earrings or something? What?" So as we progressed, she goes, "Excuse me, but you sound awfully familiar." She said, "Do I know you?" I said, and we went through did you go to Bennett High School? No. 54 Fillmore? No.
I did.
Wait, I know. You're Debbie Sims. And, and that's what I get now. When I do go home, people tend to run into me and go, "Girl, they need you back on the radio. Girl, you was doing it. Girl, you was working it out." Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I would get letters from my captive audience, which was guys from prison, would
I
send
remember those days.
they would send me letters and visitors passes, and someone sent me one of those big old cans of grape jelly. We won't go any further than that. I don't know what
Okay.
the I don't know what the idea was. I guess that was his way of sending me flowers. But I
Grape
was like,
candy. Okay.
okay.
That's definitely a new one.
And it's like, security. that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So obviously, I still remember that, but it was a very nice gesture, and I'm very humbled that I was able to be in that particular moment in time to bring people together. Doesn't matter what creed or what color or gender, whatever the case may be,
Right.
and that people still remember me to this day. I'm truly, truly honored and blessed.
Forecast was Michelle, or yeah, well, Michelle A. Something in My Heart, Keith Washington with Letitia Body, Let Me Make Love to You, and Ashford and Simpson, Is It Still Good to You? The forecast for later on today, well, it's going to be warm and not a bad day after all. Warm and cool, and there's such a thing as warm and cool. The conditions are going to be kind of strange, but that's the way it happens. And it's going to be in the 50s. It's 52 on Richmond, and the station that you're stuck on is 93.7 WBLK.
Okay, so let's talk about you left WBLK in 1998, went over to NPR, and you're doing the jazz. You're doing jazz and blues.
Correct.
What's that been like for you?
Prior to going there, the program director from NPR called me and wanted me to come over and work for them. At that point, I really couldn't because I was the program and music director there. So I suggested, here's a name for you, Doug Blakely.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Doug
So
Blakely.
I suggested Doug Blakely, and Doug got the job, and then he started doing jazz and blues. And his wife,
Good guy.
Laverne, I
Laverne,
think
yes.
she was at WFO, I believe.
Yep, wonderful people.
And I
Wonderful.
think she also came to BLK after I left as well. And then Carol Blackman was another name too.
Yes,
All
absolutely.
right. So see, it's starting to come up now.
There you go.
My file is starting to open up a little bit. But I digress. Doing jazz and blues was different. But it was still a good thing being on the radio. I never did the blues part, but the jazz was pretty much like doing the Quiet Storm and choosing my own music. And it was just getting used to being on the air because when I left BLK, I had to sign a no compete clause to be off the air for a year. And I could not compete on that particular band or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
So I was off the air for a year, and when I came back, working at NPR was it was a good thing. I felt wanted because after I got dismissed from BLK, one tends to go through what did I do, my fault. You don't feel your confidence level is not as strong as it used to be. And the program director there at the time was Bert Gambini. He's still I call him my little brother. I call him Big Dog. We are still connected to this day. He's very kind, good-hearted, warm-hearted man who helped me come back into finding my confidence again with radio. So jazz and blues was good because it was very carefree and the individuals there were nice and the community was also nice as well. We did a lot of concerts, introductions, or just what individuals do. I mean, they had for a college station, it felt very commercial, and it was run very nice and professional. So I had a great time there.
For 88.7 WBFO. Hi, everybody. Thanks for all that you do for 88.7 WBFO. It is time for the blues. My name is Debbie Sims. It is great to be here. Good to have you there. Hope you got your ears on. It's going to be a great evening. A lot of warm vibrations coming your way and a few tributes to Whitney Elizabeth Houston. I have a few songs from her. I want to do what I can to show my love for her, as well as Etta James too. So it's going to be a really fulfilling
evening, and wherever the wave takes us is exactly how we're going to go with the music, all right? So settle in, call your friends, tell them I'm on. Got some great blues coming your way, starting with Bobby Blue Bland from the soundtrack of Lincoln Lawyer. And this is a nice, cool track. You're going to like it. I wouldn't steer you wrong. Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City, here on your listener support station, WBFO. Thanks for listening. Thanks for dropping in.
Okay, and how long were you at WBFO?
I was there for 5 years, and then they got sold and went to the station downtown, not BEN. I'm not sure where the station is now, but it's downtown by what is that? There's a hotel downtown, all the way down Eagle Street by not UB, by what is
Got
it?
me thinking about
ECC. It's way over in that corner.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it's a TV station. It's a TV station. They do their
I know Channel 58 was over there a long time ago.
Okay. Anyway, that's where the station, the TV station, bought the radio station. So I was there at WBFO.
I think that's
for like 5 years.
in YO
WBEN or WNED.
NED. Oh, wow. Okay. Duh, I should have known that.
Yeah. So they bought the radio station,
right,
and they wanted me to stay on, but not at the amount of money that they were, that I was asking for.
Right.
So, and plus they weren't good people. And regardless of, it's all about self-care and well-being. If I can't work somewhere that doesn't incorporate goodwill,
right,
and it would shrink my light, there's no need for me to be there.
Trust me, all I'll say is I understand. I'll leave it at that.
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at right now, and that was the last time I did radio. So I haven't been doing radio in a bit.
Okay. Well, when you look at radio, look at the state of radio now. With this, things have certainly changed with the advent of social media. What do you think of the state of radio in Buffalo is now, and does it have any chance of surviving in this new era?
Things change is always inevitable, and how one perceives change. You can go through change kicking and screaming, or you can just go with the wave.
Yep.
With COVID involved, it makes things a lot difficult.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about Buffalo's radio because I haven't been in the States now for 6 years. So I'm not part of, I'm out of the country.
Wow, okay.
I don't hear Buffalo radio as much as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
What I do now is YouTube, and people tend to do their own radio thing. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, that is probably the next elevation of radio, or podcast is the next elevation of whatever. Right. Anyone and anybody can get on and give your opinion and say what needs to be said, whether it's truth or lies. Right. And we have experienced what not following the truth can do with the January 6th indication of the Capitol building. Oh, but yeah. I don't want to get into that because you take in what resonates with you. If it's truth and it resonates as truth, then that's what you perceive. But always research things that you come in close contact with, vocally or anything. You just research it, so that when you want to make an intelligent conversation, you've got some facts and you can, stand up to those facts. Right. Just make sure that there's factual facts in the stories. And that's what's happening now with the trend for radio, I feel. People are doing their own radio things. And that's good. Change is always good.
Absolutely. So, I mean, a lot of people in Buffalo are going to be seeing this, and we will be. I'm certain. I trust we'll be glad to glad to see you and hear your voice again. Anything that you'd like to? Anything else you before we end the interview? Anything like that you'd like to say to your Buffalo audience?
Um, I am honored that you reached out to me, and it gives me the opportunity to reminisce about the good times of where I've been, because that time from there to now made me the individual that I am today. And the individuals that I come in contact with doing radio has shaped and made me the woman that I am now, and made me the gave me the confidence to express and be authentic in my truth, and to raise my voice with confidence and love and compassion. So thank you, Buffalo, and thank you, Doug, for reaching out to me. You made this old woman feel special.
Well,
Appreciate it.
I'm certainly glad to do it, and I knew that I did a lot of work did a lot of highlighting of WUFO. I've had the pleasure of the privilege of being on the radio at WBLK, where I got my start. Then went over to WUFO, had a chance to do the Quiet Storm for a little bit of a stint. Then I went on to do my own show, Neo Soul Movement, on WUFO, and it's been also had a chance to document and record their history throughout the years.
That's awesome.
And now I figured, why not? I wanted to do something on WBLK. I started off with that audio that I had of Chuck E. T. I said to myself, wait, I got to talk to some of the other legends of WBLK, some of the names from back in the day.
So who's
was
next
the first
on
one that came to mind?
So, well, thank you. Who else is on your hit list?
Well, hopefully, I would certainly love to get Freddie Patrick on. Lou St. James. Also, we will be putting I do have a clip from a friend of mine, Mike Quinn. Will be showing the last show of DJ Hooker and Break of Dawn.
Oh, okay.
So those will be
awesome.
Coming up soon.
Well, keep my connections.
Absolutely.
And so I can, if you do get, well, I just want to check out all the other individuals that you have come in contact with. This is a good thing that you're doing, and I appreciate that, because you're like the storyteller of R&B. Like every tribe and community needs a scribe, and you are that individual. And more power to you, brother, for taking the time out to record the stories that need to be told and the individuals that were part of that history. So that's a good one. Good for you.
Absolutely, and it has been an honor, and I will get this on as soon as possible, because Black History Month begins tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, now, where are you at, by the way?
Where am I? Mississauga, Ontario.
Okay.
So I'm like maybe 20 minutes away from Toronto, which is like from here to Cheektowaga.
And of course, we know WBLK has its reach out there in Canada as well.
Dude, that clip that I found myself on YouTube, someone from Canada made that. So yeah, I remember I did a lot of things in Canada as well, doing I guess not the Juneteenth, but the Caravana parties and the parades and stuff. So yeah, that was also part of my history as well.
And what was Caravana like for you?
Oh man.
Any memories from that?
Well, here's another name too, Terry Davis.
Oh, of course. Of course.
And you know what? I should smack myself. That's my cousin. So don't tell her that I forgot her name. But so we did a Caravana together. We drove up. It was early in the morning, and we did the parade, which took 5 hours down Lakeshore in the hot sun. but it was worth it to see um, the pageantry of Caravana and just being a part of that energy. That is something I will never forget. And it's a beautiful sight seeing the colorful dancers and the food and everyone just being part of Love Fest. So that was good as well.
All righty. Well, once again, it has been an honor to have
Thank
you
you.
be a part of the Buffalo History Channel.
Thanks, man.
All right. All right.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.